Hello, welcome everyone. My name is Joseph and this is Broadview. When the Tibetan living Buddha passed away, he transformed into a streak of reddish, bright white light and disappeared without a trace in front of a crowd. This wasn't some special effect from a movie or TV show, but an actual event that happened in real life. Proof of the event was even captured on video and has been preserved to this day. What we are going to share with you today is an exceptionally mysterious phenomenon in Tibetan Buddhism: the attainment of the rainbow body. On February 26, 2006, a Tibetan monk called Atsambalo Rinpoche called one of his lay disciples and asked him to come to Hong Kong because he had something he had to tell him. The disciple was the general manager of China Hainan Airlines. Upon receiving the call, Mr. Wong rushed to Hong Kong without any hesitation and quickly arrived at the location of the fire offering to Guru Dragpo and Haiko. When he got there, he found his master Atsambalo meditating on a futon with his other disciples sitting in circles beneath. The scene was solemn and serious, as if something important was about to happen. Mr. Wong was then told that Master Atsambalo was about to pass away. At that moment, Wong was full of doubts and questions. Although his master was known as the living Buddha by his followers, he was not really the Buddha, so how did he know he was going to pass away? He sat doubtfully on the futon, but he could never forget what happened next. The following photos were taken by Mr. Wong at the scene. As you can see, at first, Atsambalo is sitting on the futon and the surroundings look pretty normal. But in the second photo, Atsambalo's body gradually blurs and becomes transparent, seemingly disappearing in front of everyone's eyes. In the third photo, it seems as if only his robe is still there. His body, head, and hands, in contrast to the previous photos, are almost completely gone. Finally, in the fourth photo, both his body and robe are gone, leaving behind only a light shadow. Atsambalo had just completely disappeared in front of everyone. If it wasn't for the peacock feather fan that had been placed in front of Atsambalo, it would be hard to believe that a person had been sitting there. Surprisingly, at the moment Atsambalo completely disappeared, a streak of reddish white light appeared and disappeared just as quickly where he had been sitting. Even more coincidentally, on the same day, a newspaper in Kowloon, Hong Kong, published a photo in which a double rainbow, which is extremely difficult to see, appeared, and the rainbow appeared at the exact moment when Atsambalo passed away. This is the legendary attainment of the rainbow body in Tibetan Buddhism. In Tibetan Buddhism, a monk's physical body shrinks or disappears when it reaches a state of Dzogchen in the practice of Buddhism. At the same time, red light and auspicious clouds will appear in the sky. This all coincides with the sight of Atsambalo's death. Monks who achieve the attainment of the rainbow body like Atsambalo are not rare in Tibetan Buddhism, in fact. Here's another famous example. In 1952, Zhang Guohua, the commander of the PLA in the Tibetan region, witnessed a monk who achieved the attainment of the rainbow body. The commander had become acquainted with a senior monk called Sonam Namgyal. One day, the monk sent a letter to the commander, saying that he was going to leave the next morning and hoped that the commander would come to say goodbye. At the time, the commander knew nothing about Tibetan Buddhism. He thought the monk was going to travel around the world, so out of curiosity, he came to the monk's monastery the next day with his guards. Strangely, there was no one at the entrance of the temple to receive him. When he went inside, he saw Sonam Namgyal sitting in the center of the main assembly hall. He didn't get up to greet his guests, nor did he look like he was going out. The commander was very puzzled and asked another monk what was going on. It was then that he learned that the long journey Namgyal had mentioned meant that he was going to pass away that very day. The words piqued the commander's attention because he had only ever read about the rainbow body in sutras and biographies before. He was always only half convinced that it was real. But today he would be able to see it with his own eyes. So he stood in the lobby of the monastery with his guards and watched the monk who was about to pass away. At this time, all the other monks of the monastery also came and sat around the living Buddha. After everyone had arrived, wonderful things happened. First of all, a dull, booming sound was heard, and the monk slowly floated off of his seat before falling back down. This stunned the crowd. Immediately afterwards, a louder booming sound was heard, and the senior monk rose quickly off his seat again, several meters higher than the first time. He floated halfway up to the hall's ceiling before once again falling quickly down. Before anyone could get over their surprise, they saw the monk float into the air for the third time. They heard a loud crack, like a thunderbolt, and the living Buddha disappeared, leaving behind only a streak of red light that disappeared. When people checked the area afterwards, there were no traces left. The whole event lasted just a few dozen seconds. What the commander might have felt at that moment, we don't know. But during the rest of his tenure at the Tibetan military region, he was more active in protecting Buddhist monks and cultural relics and preserving monasteries from being destroyed. Among the military and political officials of the CCP in Tibet, he was one of the friendlier ones towards Tibetans and Tibetan culture, and was also one of the good CCP officials in the eyes of Tibetans. From this, we can see that the monk didn't randomly invite the commander to watch his attainment of the rainbow body, which is a very special and secret event in Buddhism. Indeed, it began with the commander's misunderstanding of a letter. But this misunderstanding was probably deliberately arranged by the senior monk. Witnessing the attainment of the rainbow body left a deep impression on the CCP official, and it ultimately influenced his future behavior. So perhaps this was some sort of special karma between the senior monk and the commander and Tibet. In the two stories we just told, both monks' bodies completely disappeared during their attainment of the rainbow body. However, not all monks who have achieved the rainbow body can completely disappear. In Tibetan Buddhism, according to the different levels of cultivation, there are 3 levels of rainbow body after death. At the first level, the body will shrink until a certain point. The remains then become as hard as iron, and when struck with metal will make a sound similar to metal clashing. The size of the remains is related to the level of cultivation. So the higher the cultivation level of the person, the smaller the remains. At the second level, the body disappears, leaving behind only hair, nails, or a variety of transparent and hard relics. The third level is a state that only a very small number of highly trained monks can achieve. This is the complete attainment of the rainbow body, referring to the complete disappearance of the body. Tibetan Buddhists believe that the initial component of the human body is light. After years of cultivation, the body gathers tremendous energy. When the cultivator is about to pass away, he can use this energy to transform the physical body back into the initial component of light, melting into the light and disappearing. Next, let's talk about another story of a monk whose body shrunk after death. This happened recently. In December 2018, a senior monk named Zhijia passed away in the Tibetan Autonomous Prefecture of Sichuan Province. Zhijia had been a monk in the Gaotang Monastery since he was a child. It's said that he never saved money, and when someone offered him donations, he donated it all back to the Gaotang Monastery to make statues of Buddhas or to make other merits. The day before he passed away, he told his disciples that he was going to pass away the next day. The next morning after eating breakfast, Zhijia said to his disciples, "I'm leaving now, bring my kasaya." Then he put on the kasaya and passed away while meditating. After he passed away, his body shrank day by day until it got to about 25 centimeters. While his body was shrinking, it was often accompanied by miraculous phenomena, such as the earth shaking, rainbow light filling the sky, and strange fragrances. At this point, some people may wonder what the principle of this mysterious phenomenon is. Can it be explained by science? The monk's body disappeared and a streak of light appeared for a moment in the air. The only concept in science that can be linked to this phenomenon is the direct transformation of matter into energy at the quantum level. Einstein's mass-energy equation, E equals mc squared, gives a calculation of the conversion of mass into energy. With the theory represented by this equation, people have built nuclear bombs, nuclear power plants, and mastered enormous amounts of energy. Contemporary nuclear power plants commonly use uranium or plutonium as raw materials to generate electricity through the energy released by their fission reactions. This kind of mass-energy conversion ratio is actually very low. But the energy generated after the material conversion is very large. So it is considered a highly efficient energy source. Take a power station that can generate 1 million kilowatts of electricity as an example. If it is burning coal to generate all this electricity, it'll have to consume 7,000 to 8,000 tons of coal every day, and more than 2 million tons will be burned in a year. However, after switching to nuclear energy, only about 1.5 tons of fissionable uranium or plutonium will be consumed each year. But the attainment of the rainbow body is completely different. The monk's body partly or completely disappears in this space. If the missing body, according to the theory, is transformed into energy, it should release a huge amount of energy. However, no destructive energy was actually released. No fireballs, no shock waves, no mushroom clouds. If a 60-kilogram human body instantly disappears, it will release 5.4 to the power of 1,018 joules of energy. In comparison, the Hiroshima atomic bomb explosion of World War II released 6.4 to the power of 1,013 joules of energy. Therefore, the instantaneous disappearance of a human body is equivalent to 84,000 Hiroshima atomic bombs, which should rock the earth and light up the sky. But the fact is, the scene of the attainment of the rainbow body is very quiet. Nothing happens. There is no explosion or destruction. On the contrary, people often observe auspicious clouds. What might be the reason for this? Science has no way of giving a rational explanation. From another point of view, although the attainment of the rainbow body is a physical phenomenon that we can observe in this space, it is in the realm of religion and cultivation culture, which is outside of the explanations of scientific concepts. Science has boundaries. It's not capable of being the judge of everything in this world. Unscientific does not equal incorrect, and the non-scientific does not equal the non-existent. So applying science to explain theology may be quite the difficult path to follow. Maybe after further development and growth, science will be able to include more mysterious phenomena, like the attainment of the rainbow body. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you found this video interesting, please subscribe to our channel and recommend it to your friends and family. We'll see you next time.